Up next is Matt Kelly, and the title of his talk is History Helps Us See.
Look closely at the image behind you and zero in on its parts. What is it? It's candy. I'm a historian of education, which means I work with things like these candies, small pieces that accumulate. We gather fragments and details from the overlooked to the extraordinary, and from those we build understanding. In my own work, the pieces are considerably less appealing than brightly wrapped candies. Tax documents, bank ledgers, school funding formulas. But here's what I've learned. When we arrange even these mundane pieces in new ways, we can change what we see. And so one of the ways that we do this as historians, we arrange these pieces to tell stories. So in my own work, that's meant articles, a book. It's also meant bringing my training into the courtroom, helping courts see how laws passed today can violate obligations that were written into state constitutions more than a century ago. The obligations were always there. The words never changed. We just needed to know how to see them. History doesn't just tell us what happened, it changes how we see what's right in front of us. It gives us context, and context is everything. So let me give you some more context about me and then this image. In addition to being a historian of education, I'm also a former public school teacher, and I'm a gay man. And I spend a lot of time, especially lately, thinking about silence. And history's trained me to hear silence in the archives. Teaching has trained me to really feel it in the classroom. And we live in a moment where certain stories are becoming harder to tell. And that's creating silences that begin to take on a familiar shape. So to give one example among so many that we could choose in our current moment, we could think about the silence being demanded of LGBTQ teachers and students and scholars of gender and sexuality. And that's a silence that doesn't come from nowhere, as a lineage. We could think of the Johns Committee in Florida in the 1950s that hunted down and destroyed the lives of LGBTQ teachers and students in Florida. We could think about the Briggs Initiative in the 1970s that would have fired public school teachers for simply expressing support for the LGBTQ community. And we could think of the 1980s. Queer people are dying from complications of AIDS and complications of silence. The White House press secretary laughs about it. The president won't use the word AIDS publicly for years. Group of activists form an organization called ACT UP. They understand the stakes. They fought. They gave us 3 words. Silence equals death. Now more context. What you're looking at is not candy. It's never been candy. It's art. It's a portrait. It's called Untitled Portrait of Ross in LA. It was created by Felix Gonzalez Torres in 1991. That candy altogether weighs 175 pounds. And that's the ideal body weight of Ross Laycock. This is the man who Felix loved. It's his partner who passed away from complications of AIDS and silence in 1991. Museum visitors are invited to take a piece, to watch that pile diminish and a body waste away, participate in it. But then this is crucial. The museum replenishes it, and they bring Ross back. So you carry him with you, this piece of sweetness in your pocket, and it's a piece of someone who's passed away, but remarkably remains. Felix passed away 5 years after he created this portrait of Ross, also from complications of AIDS and silence. This is the work history asks of us, to turn silence into presence, to confront the loss, but hold the love, to feel our own hands reaching and recognize how we're both witness and participant. Do you see this image differently now? That's the power of history. Context doesn't just inform, it transforms. It's the difference between a body and a pile, between silence and a name. I invite you to look at that image one last time and really sit with it. Context has changed what you see. It's turned candy into flesh, and all of those pieces into a life. And it's not candy anymore. It's Ross, and it's Felix, and they're still here. Thank you.